Welcome back everyone to the Cash Tactics pay-per-click case study. Today is actually going to be the second to last video before we conclude this particular case study. So, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to cover the stats of the campaign, the click-through rate of the landing page, some of the things that I did, what my test results were for split testing, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump right into that now. I'll open up my Excel sheet. Alright, so here's our Cash Tactics recap report. I've compiled just a little bit of simple data just to kind of ease the explaining of it. Let's go over here to the campaign stats tab. If you look here, this first section up here at the top, I have the campaign stats for running it over the last 4 days. So we ran it from Tuesday to Friday, spending $25 a day. So the name of the campaign was called Acai Berry. Our daily budget was $25. I ran it just on Google and the Google Search Network. I did not run it on the Content Network, not for the case study. We had a total of 86 clicks. Total impressions was 3,452. Our click-through rate was 2.49%. Our average cost per click was $1.21, and our total cost over the 4 days was $104.07. Now, a couple things I want to talk about before we go any further. 86 clicks is not enough to base a decision upon whether a campaign is going to work or not. The reason why, it's just not enough data, because like I explained before in the previous video, if you have 700 different keywords and each of them gives, get one click, then, and especially at an average cost per click of $1.21, then you're going to be spending over $700 just for one click per keyword. So you kind of get my drift of how I'm explaining that, is that you have to spend a little bit more than, or expect to spend more than just 86 clicks worth to really make the campaign valid assessment of the campaign. What I recommend doing if you're really on a small budget is to not shoot for huge size campaigns like 1,000 keywords or 1,500 keywords, especially if the cost per clicks are $1 plus. If they're in the 30 to 60 cent range, it's a little bit different. Because you'll accumulate more data pretty quickly and it doesn't cost you as much. But literally, I was spending $25 a day and getting about 20 clicks a day. It really wasn't that much. So you can't really base your decision upon 20 clicks a day. And the way that I worked it out was that I used the Google ad scheduling. So all the campaign start days started at 9 a.m. I didn't want the 6 to 9 o'clock in the morning traffic to come, because a lot of times there's not a whole lot of conversions to that time of the day. So I started my campaigns live at 9 a.m. and then I adjusted it on a couple of the days because I wanted to spread it out across different time frames. So I had some in the morning, some in the afternoon and evening over the last 4 days. So I kind of spread it out a little bit, but still 20 clicks for those time frames is just not enough to really accumulate a lot of data. So that being said, if you're on a smaller budget and if you're targeting a market like the Acai Berry or something like that where the cost per clicks are kind of expensive, stick with just a couple hundred words at a time, anywhere between 200 and 400 words, something like that, maybe even less, maybe just 100 words, because then what you could do is you can spend that $25 a day budget on those 100 words, and so over a course of a week or two, on just those 100 words, you'll be able to have enough data at $25 a day to see which keywords out of those 100 are profitable and which ones are not. Think of it, as I may have mentioned this before as well, a very small percentage of your keywords are actually going to be profitable. So you're bidding on, over the course of maybe a month, you bid on 500 or 600 keywords. You might only find 10% or 20% of those keywords profitable. So don't give up when you're losing a lot of money initially, because that's what you have to do to really find what works and what doesn't work. The landing page click-through rates, I had 2 different landing pages with 2 different styles and 2 different approaches to them. The landing page 1 got a 27.45% click-through rate, which is pretty much on the low end. In the Acai Berry market, though, I know that 27% to about 40% is what most of them start out at when you first launch your landing pages, and then once you optimize them and keep testing them over time, they improve. The Acai 2 landing page had a 34.6% click-through rate, which is not horribly bad, but it's not great either. It could definitely use some improvement. Typically, you want to shoot for 60 to 80% click-through rates. 60% minimum is what you'd really like to have. Anything above 70% is going to be very, very good. Our total sales for the case study was 0. We did not get any sales. Again, so that's not that big a deal, because think of it like this. If you have 100 keywords and we spent $1 on each keyword, that's $100. So that basically would have wiped out our budget. So each click only had, I'm sorry, each keyword only had one click. So that's not enough to determine if that keyword's profitable or not off of just one click. So you see what I'm getting at. You have to really run it a little bit more than that. But what I want to share with you right now is a strategy to help you optimize your campaign and not to blow your budget. It's not my strategy. It's yet a strategy that was shared on Amit Mehta's blog. His blog is very rich, full of information, and he's strictly PPC guy, so he knows his stuff. I follow his blog a lot. He just recently made an update that he's going to be cutting back on his blog posts, but he has a lot of archive posts that he's made that are just literally just mind-blowing, some of the strategies. Now, let's go to that page really quickly. Right here on Amit Mehta's blog at superaffiliatemindset.com. And something that really helped me out when he first posted this, and he posted this back in October 21st of 2007, and that's when I read this. And I was following his blog pretty hardcore at that time. A lot of information I was learning as much as I could, and I would recommend you go through, if you're looking to get into PPC pretty solidly, go through and read all of his information. A lot of valuable information here. And most of the stuff that he teaches in the pay-per-click classroom is actually already on his blog. He does go in a little bit more in depth in the PPC classroom and a little bit more hands-on and personal interaction, so it's good to stick with PPC classroom. But right inside of his blog is a lot of golden nuggets. One of the main things that helped me was this bidding strategy that he shared on his blog, and he kind of goes to explain that a lot of times, people will go in and they'll just bid on a bunch of keywords. They'll bid for positions 1 through 3, trying to get atop of their competitors and see what works and what doesn't. Well, a lot of times in positions 1 through 3, you're getting a lot of click-happy customers. You get a lot of just random clicks because they're curious, so you can end up wasting a lot of money. Also, they're higher, especially at the beginning of your campaign, because you haven't started optimizing your quality score, still trying to be developed. So you're wasting a lot of money on those top first to third positions. So he shows a little strategy on this page, and I'll also list the link just below the video here, of how you can use Google AdWords Editor to adjust your keywords and ads positions between positions 3 and 8, which will help you save money, help you get a broader array of data across your keywords that you're bidding on, and ultimately it'll save you money in the long run when you're trying to do in the testing stage. So it's something I really recommend doing. I'm not going to go into explaining how to do it because he has it on his blog post, and I will provide that just below. Now, I said that I didn't make any conversions on the case study. That is correct. We did not on the case study. But what I wanted to talk to you about here for a moment is that we actually did make conversions today. This very day I'm creating this video, today, Saturday, we have, to this point, we've had 3 conversions already. And let me explain a few things to you. So what I did was, I already had a strategy in mind that I wanted to try with PPC Bully. I mentioned that to you last week. PPC Bully, it's a really interesting tool. I knew that I could use it in some way that would benefit me. So what I did was, before this case study even began, I launched some keywords inside of PPC Bully around the cyber niche. I had done some research and put them in there, and so I had about 300 keywords. I think I even showed y'all when I logged in.